Hi, I am Cindy Garlinger, and this is my time-telling workstation. I'd like to show you what I've created. I put together this board, and it has each of the individual math time-telling workstations, and they are differentiated for different groups. And I put the cards on here so that the little envelopes would have sticks with the students' names, so they're working in partner groups as they move around to the different stations. And I've also included a free station, which is choose your own station, or a hold it station, where they can catch up on work that has not yet been completed. Let me first introduce to you the creation station. This is just a little bucket station here that has a hands-on, it's a creative station where students explore. Today I've created a 4-flat folder that shows you 4 times throughout my day. I have drawn myself, and it says time to go to school. So when you open the flap, it has a clock. I have clock faces that can be glued on, and then they can be labeled, and then the time, the analog time and the digital time. 8 o'clock, the time I go to school. And this will include 4 events throughout the day: time for math class, time to play, time for bed. Now, some students may prefer to take the clock stamper and put it in a stamp pad and stamp a clock on, and then just draw the hands and such. And this would be a fun activity for students. Now, some students that have trouble with planning when trying to think, what am I going to draw, what time am I going to use, I've included a little worksheet that kind of asks them some questions like, what time do you eat breakfast? You are eating breakfast at what time? So they'll record the time in digital format and then draw the time on the clock. And then that information can be transferred to the flat book. So that's the creation station. Next is a listening station. And this is a place to listen to audiobooks or music. I have recorded myself reading a couple of books here. And what they would do is go to the listening station. The CD will already be placed inside. There will be a label that shows which book is at which location. And they can click on it and listen to me reading the story. It might be also fun for students to write and record a song or a poem that they come up with themselves. So I've got a little recorder here, and I would provide for the students some rhyming words related to time, or print, which I didn't think of ahead of time, but to print out some cute little nursery rhymes like 1, 2, buckle my shoe, which talk about numbers but also talk about things that we do, and they could write a song and record it, or write a poem and record it. So I think that would be real fun. The next thing I have is a sort and slide station. Now, this I think would work well for many different kinds of learners. I think visual, kinesthetic learners, ESL, children with dyslexic tendencies, and even special ed. It's color-coded, and it tells you put in the digital time, the analog time, the word form, and then there's a elapsed time question. Like this one, for instance, you put in 9 o'clock, then you find the analog time of 9 o'clock, the word form 9 o'clock, and then the question says, what time was it 30 minutes ago? And it works just like this. You slide the card right in, and then I would have to find the clock that shows 1 o'clock, and then the word form of 1 o'clock, and then this one says, Zoha went for a bike ride at 11:30. She rode for 1 minute, and she rode for 1 hour and 30 minutes. What time did she get home? Well, if I took my big clock or a little manipulative clock and I wound it back, this is a geared clock, and this will really be helpful in this station. It's 11:30, and she started riding her bike. Well, it says she rode for 1 hour, so the 1 hour brings me to 12:30, and then another 30 minutes shows me I'm at 1 o'clock. And that matches where I started, at 1 o'clock. So this is great practice for time telling and elapsed time, and practicing the words. The next workstation is called how much time. Let me pull this out for you. How much time is students can work alone or with partners, and it benefits verbal, linguistic, logical, mathematic learners, body, kinesthetic learners, all those learning styles. And the students pick a card. It's in the box here. I've got a timer, a stopwatch. They're going to pull out a card, read what it says, and complete the task. Well, this one, and I've got a worksheet here where they fill out the times with, you can just write it with a dry erase, or if you prefer not to do that, you could just have individual worksheets for each person and they can write the information on their page. And some small clocks in case those are needed as well. It says, how long does it take you to tie your shoes? Well, either you can time yourself tying your shoe, or you can have a partner time you. Just click the stopwatch when you start and stop it when you're finished, and you can record the time it takes to tie your shoe. Another one is, how many times can you jump in place for 15 seconds? And that would just, I think, would be a really fun way to practice time-telling skills, just using a little different approach. The next station I wanted to show you is the computer station. It's designed to allow students to play interactive games while building the time-telling skills. Now, the workstation benefits auditory, visual, and kinesthetic learners. This game in particular is called Stop the Clock. Now, it works by this. You just drag the digital times to the correct analog clock and then press Stop the Clock to record your time. And I'll show you how it works. All right, 2:15. I've got to find 2:15. There it is. So I'm going to drag my time up there. I've got 7:15, 8:15, 10:45, and 3:45, and I stop the clock. And it says that I took 45 seconds to complete that. So then I would have a stop the clock sheet, and I would record the time for round one. You can play that by yourself, or you could play it with a partner on the computer next to you. So that would be real fun. And then an interesting thing to do would be to, using the math journal, right here, math journal, add the times together for all of the rounds, and then write a short story about something you could do in that amount of time. I think that would be a lot of fun. Now, the next station is the game station. I've created a folder game called Just in Time, and I found this online, and I will give you a reference for that as well. It's a folder game that benefits most student groups, including ESL, dyslexic, tendencies, visual, kinesthetic learners, and verbal. The gifted intelligence students could play this game as well. In the folder, it has a start and end, and there are different times on analog clocks. Now, you would take and roll dice, and then I meant to put some pieces out here to move, but roll the dice, and the number on the die you move to that clock. Now, you must read the time on the clock correctly in order to move on your next turn. If you get it incorrectly, you must stay there, and then the play turn goes to the next person. There are instructions on the back that show how to play, and upper level students could play a little differently. Rather than calling the time on the clock, they could say how many minutes to the next hour, or answer an elapsed time question that could be included with the folder game. So I think that would be really fun as well. Next, I have What Time Station. That is this. And in the What Time Station, it is multi-level, and it includes manipulatives. I have geared clocks in here. We could use the big clock for this one as well. And students could use the flashcards to practice telling time, or work with a partner on calling time. And there are also different worksheets. What I have here is a worksheet that you draw on the hour and minute hand for the time shown, or we could have the time shown and you write the time. And then this one that I found in a book shows kind of a elapsed time story. It says, read the story, the time changes in each story, draw the hands on the face of each clock. It's 12 o'clock. Heather's class goes to lunch in 30 minutes. What time will the class go to lunch? So you have to figure out the elapsed time and then put it on the clock. So that seems like it would be really helpful. And another thing that would be great to have in here would be puzzle cards. Most kids like puzzles. And you could find the two pieces that show the analog and the digital time. So a couple more here. I've got a concentration station. And the concentration station is just a game of concentration. And it benefits most groups while building time-telling skills through the traditional concentration game. I've got concentration cards here. And really they're cards that were in the sorting slide, so it can be used in multiple ways. But I'm looking for the analog and the digital time to match. Now I didn't make a match, I have to turn them over. So I would try again, looking for 8 o'clock. There I found 8 o'clock analog, 8 o'clock digital. And I would keep that pair. And it's good practice for time telling. And finally, the math words station. And this is where students practice the vocabulary related to math. Now, the station will change depending on what we're studying. And the words related to time telling, such as o'clock, quarter till, quarter after, would be words that we would study to build background knowledge in learning to tell time. So what I would have is flashcards. This one says quarter after. And I'm going to take my math journal and I'm going to write in it quarter after. And now the student should write an explanation and draw an illustration. And on the back side, it shows what we would do. I would write 15 minutes after the hour. Quarter after is 15 minutes after the hour. And then I would draw an example. On the clock, I've drawn 15 minutes after 1. And then I've also recorded the time here. And those can be recorded in the math journal for future reference. I've had a wonderful time building this math workstation for telling time. And it was interesting to look into the different learning styles, multiple intelligence learning styles and learning levels, as well as providing activities and reinforcing skills for ESL and dyslexic tendencies and special ed and all of those groups. So thank you very much, and I hope you like it.